I was playing the chorus of what I thought was a cool chorus, and he was like, man, you can do better than that. And I was like, kiss my ass. You right? He was right.
We're going to talk about your hair. So what's going on, Zach? What are we doing?
Well,
You sent me a photo.
we're going to kind of mix it up a little bit.
We're going to cut it off.
How much off do you think that is?
I don't know. I'm thinking we should go full on Metallica load and reload haircut with you.
What's that?
Super short. Let's go really short.
No, dude, I don't want to get too short.
Let's go so short, Matt. Let's give you like a flat top.
Joking with my girl, I was like, yeah, I'm going to call you up and I'm going to have a buzz cut. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should join the army too. She's like, you wouldn't last a day in there. Like, yeah, I'm not so good with people telling me what to do.
Either am I. I would have gotten kicked out in like a week.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be a certain type of person. And it's interesting to me when I meet musicians like my drummer.
Yeah.
He was in the Navy. And I'm just like, how could it be this and that? Some people...
You know who else was in the army was Maynard, the singer for Tool. He went to West Point.
Them?
Yeah. Went to West Point.
I mean, Jimi Hendrix was in the Paratroopers.
That seems kind of fun.
Well, yeah, and he, like, apparently, like, the story is that when he wanted to get out of it,
Yeah.
at that time, like, it was still kind of taboo on he basically, I guess he said that he was in the guys. That's what the story is.
I don't know. I know everybody who does paratrooping, at some point, they have the worst knees from landing.
Have you ever gone skydiving?
No. I have a fear of falling to my death.
Yeah.
It's like people who don't want to go surfing because they're worried to get eaten by a shark, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a legitimate fear. It's not a crazy fear, but the percentage of it actually happening to you is like so slim.
So slim.
The chances of me dying from my parachute not opening up is super slim.
Yeah.
But it's a real believable fear.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be my luck.
Yeah, I think I've escaped death enough times that would be like, here you go. Here I am on a silver platter.
You're like literally knocking on death.
Yeah.
I know we kind of
We've danced a little bit.
made connections, a few times, but let's link up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. All right. So, what's the show again that you like? That show?
It's called Daisy Jones and the Six.
Okay.
Apparently, it's loosely based on Fleetwood Mac, and there is some of their music, and even the music that the band plays. It's very like Fleetwood Mac-y. And I mean, if there's definitely a rock and roll tale for the ages.
They have some stories here. I'm gonna pull up the photo that you sent me.
Yes, I think I can send you a couple more if you wanted like a side angle.
Yeah. Show me the picture you sent me. It kind of looks like it's very Jim Morrison.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Super Jim Morrison for sure. Do you want to go that short though?
I mean,
I can't imagine that being like.
is there like a little bit longer? Like I like the like layering on the sides and stuff.
All right, so here's a couple of things that I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
He has like short fringe going on. Like do you like being able to pull your hair up when you work out?
I mean, I can put a headband on.
Yeah, but I mean that headband. I mean that's like bangs do. That's like here.
Yeah, like I'm. That is a concern of mine because I was talking again. My girl really likes that, and she thinks it's cool. I think it's cool too.
Yeah,
But it is a lot shorter than I've gone in.
I mean, think about this. Like with the hair curly on this. Like, okay, so you have your curls right here, right?
Uh-huh.
Like your hair is down here, and that is like up to here. And when your hair is curly, it still hangs below your collar.
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy's hair is like my length, dude.
Do you think it's too short?
No, look, dude. I think it's a cool look. I agree. It's a cool look. It looks good on him. It looks great. Here's my question for you. You have long hair.
Yeah.
And it is not a slight change.
Yeah.
It is a big change.
I know.
It is literally like my haircut is closer to that.
Yeah.
Yours is.
No, I know.
So it's like if you want something that looks like this, which, I'm trying to get my hair like you.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to trade? Let's just swap. Here we go.
It's stuck on. Would you look good with that? Yeah, we probably can do something like that. I'm just wanting to know, like, what were the parts of that you like? Because perhaps it's not even so much the exact haircut.
Yeah.
Like look, you're a musician, I play music, so like I look at it, it's like sometimes like you don't even really like the band or the song, it just like has a cool vibe. You're like,
Yeah.
like I don't even know what they're talking about in song, but it's a cool vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has a cool vibe.
Yeah.
Totally has rock and roll vibes. So I mean, like it really looks like more the Doors.
Yeah.
So do you want to do something that's more like that?
I mean,
Look, let's just kind of like see what it looks like.
yeah. Like, I am kind of willing to mix it up. I've had the same thing for a while. I mean, this part of it is like, when you cut it, it's like, that's what you got.
Yeah.
But I mean, it'll grow back. But I obviously want to like look in the mirror every day.
Well, let me ask you a few things. So you get out of the shower. First off, how often do you wash your hair?
So like, I condition it most days, and then shampoo maybe like 3 times a week.
3 times?
Yes.
Okay. Do you put styling product in your hair?
Yeah, I use this stuff. I think it's called Hair Milk by Carol's Daughter. So it's just like a spray.
Okay.
And then it helps to keep like frizz down, and I spray it on, run my hands through my hair, and then scrunch up a little bit, and then just let the breeze take care of the rest.
Do you put it in when it's towel dry? Do you put it in when it's sopping wet?
I will towel dry a little bit,
Okay.
but not fully. So that it seems to take better when it's damp, I guess.
Okay. Versus when it's sopping wet?
Yeah.
Okay. So like that haircut that you have, like I think you have enough strong enough pattern, enough curl that you could get away with that.
Mm-hmm.
When your hair's shorter, is it curlier or is it more straight?
It's more curlier.
Okay.
Seems like the length kind of like
Stretches it out.
Yeah.
It's weird because some people will have more straight hair, and then when it gets long enough, then like the curl pattern is so long, they don't actually see it until it gets longer.
Mm-hmm.
Where other people, which sounds like you and clearly me, because when it's shorter, it's like, you have curl.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, let's not take it above your shoulder too much.
Yeah.
All right, let's just like kind of take it to like about here.
Yeah.
That's going to be quite a sizable amount once that curl comes in.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather your hair be longer
Mm-hmm.
and shrink up
Yeah.
than be the perfect length, and then it gets way shorter because we're not factoring in the shrinkage of the coil.
Like when it's dry and when
Yeah, like right now, like I brushed it out and your hair got longer.
yeah.
But it's good to know that your hair brushes out quickly.
Mhm.
Like I know this is like air dried. Those photos of that guy, he has defined curl.
Yeah.
Do you want it to be more defined, or do you want it to be a little bit more looser in your coloring? I can't help it. I just want to say like looser and more Dave Mustaine.
I mean, I like the kind of define,
It's easy to do, man.
Yeah.
It's easy. You just have to change the order of what you do.
Mm.
But like you're doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just got to rearrange it.
Okay.
When your hair's wet, put lots of product. Jerry being wet, not even towel, but like in the shower.
In the shower.
Why not?
Okay.
So I'm gonna use like a gel by Mizani, and it's for people who have wavy, curly, textured hair, coily hair, whatnot. I'm gonna put up quite a bit of that in. Your hair's dripping away,
Mm.
and then what you do is then you take a towel and then you squeeze all the water out
Okay.
with that product in it. And then when you go through it and squeezing it, you'll see that curl pop out. You could let your hair air dry from that.
So you don't have to diffuse. You wouldn't.
You could. I like the diffuser. I'll
Yeah.
tell you why. Is that you can start drying the hair without moving, and then because if you're like moving and you're running around, your curl's going to expand, and it's not going to be as defined.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can start the process, let's be real. Ideal world, I would say I would love it if you could dry 100%.
Yeah.
I don't believe everyone. I don't even do that for my hair. I get it to a certain point. I go, oh yeah, it's dry enough,
Yeah. Okay.
and then I let like nature do its thing.
And so the product still stays after all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a completely different way of doing it. You just need to spray it, and you brush it through, and then you scrunch, and then you apply the product, brush it through, scrunch.
So you
So easy.
apply more than once.
Yeah, you want to apply like gel about the size of like a nickel to like a quarter for each section. So you have to kind of use a lot of product, but you want to like overuse a lot of moisture products. So like, and when I say overuse, it's actually probably the amount that most people should use, but everyone always underuses what they need to use, and then they overuse what they need to use a little bit of.
So is it more than one product?
What it sounds like you have is like a leave-in,
Yeah.
and then I would be putting the Stein product.
Okay.
So you could probably, I mean, you could try it. I don't know. Depending on if that leave-in or if that product, I don't know that product, so I really don't know its limitations.
Yeah.
But you could spray that product in a lot in one area. If you feel like you're getting like, you're combing through and you see like this milky foam, like almost too much product in that you would see, that's actually a good thing. That means you've saturated the hair.
How often do you shampoo?
Every 5 days.
Every 5 days.
Like 5, every 5, every 6, and then I'll rinse every other day.
Do you condition when you?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll put conditioner, so I'll rinse my hair because everything, rinse it out, and then I'll try and comb it out in the shower with a little bit of leave-in with conditioner in the hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then I apply the product right here. Yesterday I washed my hair and did it. Today I didn't do anything, so this is like slept on.
Oh, right from the bed to the road.
This is, yeah, exactly. So this is slept on hair. Tomorrow I may wake up, depending on how it looks, I may go, okay, can I get another day out of it, or do I have to rinse it off? You know what I was thinking we should do? Let's rinse your hair out. So I'm gonna cut it whack. So I'm gonna see how that's spring. Let's go and rinse your hair off because I have a shampoo sink.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back. All right. That was a lot easier than just wetting your hair down with the spray bottle.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put some leave-in in your hair. Leave-in is crucial, dude. Absolutely crucial.
And it sounds like that's what I use.
It could be.
I think so.
And I put quite a bit in because I think that really helps with filling in any dry spots in the hair. And what I mean by dry spots, like those areas where the hair is dry, and so it gets, the other hair connects onto it and it creates like knots. Leave-in conditioner is like if there's a pothole and you're filling it with gravel, but you're not filling it in with actual asphalt.
Okay.
So like you're just making sure it's not as bumpy.
Yeah. Do you have like a favorite brand, or is it different for each?
You know, I think some people's hair responds better to others.
Yeah.
I like the Pureology. It's only one benefits. Like I really do enjoy that. Not just like I teach for them, but I really do enjoy how awesome it is. Like I can put gobs of it in, and in some cases, if I just overuse it, when I say overuse it, I consciously spray it in as a leave-in, and then I consciously spray it in like I'm using another hair product. Sometimes that oversaturation is actually the only thing that person needs for their hair. You could easily get away with something quite light in your hair because the frizz is not expansive or anything like that. All right, so we're gonna bug your hair.
Let's do it.
How'd you go from Canada to Austin? And don't give me the answer by plane or I drove here.
Oh no, it was a flock of Canadian geese, and you just hook your sled up to it.
Yeah, okay, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Where in Canada are you from?
I grew up in a small town, the East Coast, in Nova Scotia, so that's about as far east pretty much as you go.
Okay.
And I think there's around 5,000 people there.
All right.
It was a pretty musical town. A lot of my friends played growing up, and there was a great, just even local scene of some bands that would come through, and one of these bands would be playing at one of the venues in town. I'd go and I'd bring a blue, black, and red pen, and I'd draw the stamp on my hand because I was underage, and then I would just go in the side door where they would think I was already in. So it was a cool way to get to see some bands live, when I was like 17. Because in a town that size, it's not like you're living in a city and you can go to an all-age concert. You also had to make your own fun. So there was like singing Pearl Jam songs around the campfire, like that kind of thing.
What song do you sing a Pearl Jam at the campfire?
That one would be Elderly Woman Behind the Counter in a Small Town.
Which is, people say is like one of their, people talk about like one of the greatest songs by that.
It's just a great song. Yeah. That is, I believe, on Versus.
At that teenage years that I was when I heard Pearl Jam, that first record is so rock.
10?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking great record.
Solid.
And then they go like on the acoustic train a little bit more.
Well, they weren't, as they started to make it and life wasn't as much of a struggle,
they were able to.
Maybe they're slightly less pissed off about the world.
I would love to ask them.
I mean, I think, but still, everyone evolves as an artist, and so
it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was just
I love like Versus is one of my favorite. Oh, every song on there. I mean, Yield is fantastic. Like there's just, they're just a killer band. So But yeah, so grew up in the East Coast of Canada, and I've lived in different cities like Toronto and Vancouver, playing in bands. 2017, I met my ex at Clothing Optional Beach.
Is that the name of the beach?
It's called Wreck Beach. And that's it.
And you say clothing optional.
Yeah.
So like you can just
whatever you want to
show up in your birthday suit.
What if you're comfortable with it? And it's a really cool place. It's like all summer long, people are down there with their djembes and, having a beverage. And it's a really good vibe.
Real quick. Have you ever had your hair cut with a razor before?
Yeah.
How was the outcome?
Good.
Okay. I'm gonna
had to go through the archive a little bit there.
Yeah. I'm just gonna take this. I'm gonna take your layers around here because it's gonna shrink up.
Yeah.
I want it to be a little lower, and then if we need to bring it up higher,
yeah, because we can't
always go short.
Yeah. Does that look like that there's like lots of layers in his and in that one?
Yeah. Well, in his hair there is, but I'm using the razor because I want to create a little bit more of a lived-in vibe. A little bit about like hair history is that, you either had straights, you had like a pair of scissors that people would use.
Yeah.
They would use a razor like this, right? Or they would use a multi-tooth scissor, which are like people call like thinning scissors or something like that.
Yeah.
And, just knowing that during certain eras, certain tools were more prevalent, I think using a razor is going to give you a little bit more of that lived-in vibe. So it's not super, what is it?
Like less stiff, sort of?
Yeah, like for instance, like the Rolling Stones have that wobbly sound, right? Because they're not following the drummer, they're following Keith Richards, right? So like the timing is a little off, and that's what gives it that cool groove. That looseness. And that's what I want to be able to do with your hair.
Cool.
Versus like a band like, I don't know, who is like Rush.
Yeah.
Like precise.
Yeah.
And it's great. And it's an accomplishment, and they're amazing musicians.
Yeah.
Different vibes.
Totally.
When I look at vibes, I have like when I see something has like, is it the precision of that, or is it the vibe that they're attracted to? Right?
Yeah.
So like I'm choosing a tool to give you more of that vibe.
I like,
not because it's easier. It's just like that tool is going to give you that tool. It's the same reason like most of the famous rock bands that everybody loves, like everything from like AC/DC to Guns N' Roses to Led Zeppelin. It's a Gibson and a Marshall.
Yeah.
There's something about that combination that people don't realize they love.
There's a little magic in there.
Yeah, and so I'm just going to do a little magic with this razor. So you're at the clothing optional beach.
Yes,
right. You don't like the tan lines.
Well, does anybody?
I don't know.
I mean, I guess some people might not bother them, but we were both musicians, but it wasn't like a serious thing for her. Anyway, so like I remember one night we were living in Vancouver, and
how far is that? Vancouver's on the west.
Yeah, so it's like
furthest east
to
furthest west.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I lived in Toronto, which is in the middle.
No, that's like
at one point. Detroit. Yeah. So Vancouver is about an hour and a half north of Seattle.
Okay.
Beautiful city. But the music scene there was not
Vancouver.
Yeah. Like it's really like there's a lot of film there. I think sometimes it's called Hollywood of the North. So like a lot of major productions are filmed there.
X-Files was filmed there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was, where are all these places? And it was like, oh, they filmed it all in Toronto. And I was like, or Vancouver.
Toronto is also big, and so film city. But yeah, and I had played in some bands there, and we had done all right. But there was one night where we wanted to see some live music, and we went to 15 different places on a Saturday night, and there was nothing happening. And then we were kind of like, maybe we should move somewhere that's music is more like prevalent. And I was in a band. I had a band at the time, and the singer in that band was a douchebag. That's its own story. But so that band was falling apart, and then it was kind of like, well, so she's originally from the States.
The girlfriend at the time?
The ex.
The ex-girlfriend is from the States.
She is, yeah.
Okay. When you said she was from the States, I didn't know if the singer, I got confused there for a moment.
Yeah. No, so she was originally from Houston. So the thought of coming down here, she had grown up till she was 14 here. You know, we're just did the research, did the homework on the music cities, which, you know, from New York, Nashville, Memphis, LA. And there was things about Austin that, I mean, you know, the moniker of the live music capital is intriguing because live is why that's the most fulfilling thing for me about being a musician is playing live.
What is it about playing live?
It's the only thing that that gives you that feeling, and that feeling is of the connection.
What's that connection?
At the same time, that room full of people are all feeling, you're all on a similar wavelength, and there's this reciprocation of energy that goes from the band to the crowd back to the band, and it keeps building in this like beautiful way. So there's the connection to the crowd, and then there's the connection with your bandmates, and when you're really firing on all cylinders, I mean, there's no drug or moments of the flesh that compare to because it's such a unique thing.
It's like
in the trouble where afterwards you go from this heightened thing to all of a sudden, you know, maybe you're just in your hotel, whatever, right? So that's where people end up trying to chase that feeling and with whatever else, fill in the blank. But so I don't know. I think part of it is like you have to realize that like that is enough. Appreciate it for what it is, and not like try to just chase it.
The come down from coming off stage. Like when you come off stage, you're not off. You're still in that light.
You're buzzing.
Oh,
yeah, like you're on a natural thing, and
it's so crazy.
And that's what I was saying. So I think sometimes you want to maintain that, but
why would you not want to?
Why would you not want to? But that's where you can get into trouble, dudes. You know, if you can just like appreciate it in its totality for what it is in that moment, you know, you won't have to be chasing it. But that's can be easier said than done, and everyone's got their own ways of doing things.
And so because it was live music capital, you thought that like that's why it was an appealing place.
That was a big part of it. Even just like, you know, looking at some photos and seeing some of like just the kind of fashion, and like Texas seemed interesting, and
definitely not Nova Scotia.
And the weather is, I mean, when you've spent 30 years in Canadian winters, I don't care if I ever see snow again. And I know the summers get hot as balls here, but again, like when it's 100 degrees, I'll just close my eyes and I'll think about shoveling snow, and all of a sudden I feel
better,
cooler. I don't feel like it's 100 degrees.
That's funny that you say that. Like last summer, there was like what? Over 100 days, over 100. And that was annoying. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, when it's that hot, it makes jumping in those natural rivers, lakes, and Barton Springs.
And they're everywhere. Like this,
you could literally be like up, like downtown. And if you want to, you can jump into any body of water and cool off. Mm-hmm. And it makes that cold water so much more refreshing.
Yeah.
Because coming from California, where it's like 78 year round, and the water doesn't get that hot.
Yeah, the ocean is cold.
You're a little hot, and then you go like, oh man, freezing. We're like in here, like it's like a cold glass of water.
And then most of the year is pretty good. A lot of the year here is like a Canadian summer. Yeah,
the Canadian summer.
It's crazy. So you know, when I talked to my folks, like I'm really close to my family, and I think they got the last snowstorm was like 3 weeks ago or something. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go for a bike ride and maybe jump in the river. I'm just not built for the cold, even though I'm from there.
I get it.
So that was also one of the appeals of here. So
the snow.
Sometimes it's 5 months of that where I'm from.
But you guys have like
the infrastructure's there.
Exactly. That's what makes it different.
Yeah.
All my friends in Wisconsin, all that ripping off.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, you try and handle 100 days over 100. You don't have enough AC, and your whole city will shut down from electricity. And they're like, well, I'm just saying. I'm like, dude.
But I mean, what are you going to do? Like, we don't have snow plows. Why would you for like a 1 week thing? Some years?
300 years.
Yeah, like
Waste of money.
it doesn't make sense. I had never been down here before moving here. You know, I didn't know anybody. I don't have family here. But I mean, I've done that several times in my life, and but part of the philosophy on it is like, you got to go and try it. And if it sucks or it doesn't work out, wherever you came from is still there. So you could go back, or you could go, home is still there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, or you could go somewhere new.
I want to ask you something about that mentality.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like a distinctly you thing, a Canadian saying? Do you think that you find people who have that same mentality here in the States?
I think the people I've met most, if you're talking in terms of like a country,
Yeah.
I would say Australians have the most like wanderlust of anyone I've met. And I don't know why that is, but like when I was 18, for a while lived in Banff, Alberta, and most of the people were Aussies. Like my brother would be in Europe or whatever. Like they're everywhere. And I think there's that. So it was for me, like with wanting to do music, like I'll move to a city. Like I lived in Toronto for 5 years. I lived in Vancouver. I moved to a city, create a band, you give it your all. And then if the band goes to shit, I'll move to a new city, start a new band.
Which is funny. I mean, if you think about it, it's pretty similar to how bands work. They go from city to city. Why would you not try something and then just, if it didn't work out, you could just pick up and move?
But I mean, for a lot of people, it's kind of freaky because, and I get it, like you're saying goodbye to people you care about, and to not have, your support network around you on a daily basis. And it can be unsettling, but it doesn't work for me. But I definitely have some friends who live in my hometown, and they're married, they have kids, and they're happy. And ultimately, I mean, that's what we're all searching for.
Happiness isn't the same for everybody.
No, exactly.
I think if more people realize that my happiness and your happiness both matter, but they look different.
Can be so different.
Yeah. It's like,
and what makes one person happy could make somebody else really unhappy.
it's for a lifestyle.
Lifestyle, yeah.
Yeah, totally. Like, I know people are like, man, like all they care about is the job that makes them all the money, that brings them a lot of misery, but they love having the money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's people who I know are like, they have no money and they have kids and they have a family, and their struggle is a different kind of struggle, like monetary. But they're like, look, I have all this stuff money you can't go buy this, a family that loves you, a healthy marriage, kids.
Yes.
If we all focus more on that, like, oh, that makes Zach happy. He's happy. I'm happy for Zach.
Yeah. Rather than like your own like projection of like.
Exactly.
Yeah. Coming down to Austin, was definitely a gamble, and it's been a long, hard road. I really like it here.
Hard road as in?
I mean, it was in the beginning, like new marriage, new country. With the way immigration is set up, you can't legally work. So you're having to just like,
you have to wait,
figure things out on it,
And there's a lot of temptation in that. Like I've had clients where I've done the spouse who's not, they're either Canadian or Australian or English. And they talk about the temptation of just getting an under the table job because they're so bored.
Yeah.
That they can't do it.
Well, it's a long time. And when you're used to being an adult, taking care of yourself, get a regular job, all of a sudden you're just like, oh, I have to just wait.
Yeah, it sucks.
And it's a long time to just wait. I mean, I was also like, the day I got here, probably before that, I started putting my band together. So,
and you're allowed to have a band.
Yeah.
You just can't make any money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, funny thing with that is like, when you're a new band, any money is just going back into the band anyway. But as far as like on the books, yeah. When I got here, it was like I said, I didn't know anybody. So it was like, what does one do? And since I've done this enough times, there's all kinds of ways. So like ads on Craigslist are actually a good place. Posting, checking every day, seeing who's on there. I mean, it's all time consuming, but that's what the game is. There's some different apps like bandmates and Vampr. Vampr's where
what the hell is that?
You could liken it to like a Tinder thing,
swiping, where
you literally have you make a profile and there's like your photos, and then there's like the other bands that you're into, and it'd be like, hey, my name is Zach. I have an original rock and soul band. We're looking for a singer. And, you know, you just have a little spiel and then put like a clip of your music on there, right? It literally has the swipe thing like the dating apps do. That's how I found the new singer in my band, is through that Vampr app.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy? But it's like, it's efficient. And so I was trying everything when I first got here. And that was in the end of 2018. I was going to different churches, listening to people in the choir, going to
Looking for R&B and soul. I mean, churches, I mean, what? Every soul person talks about. How do you learn how to sing? And they're like, well, I'm in the church.
Yeah. So I was like, that's a good place to look at. I remember one time there was American Idol auditions. And so I printed up these business cards. It was in Waco, which is like 4-hour drive or something.
From Houston.
From here.
4 hours from to Waco?
It's pretty far.
It can't be 4 hours.
It's like at least 3.
Really? I thought it was like an hour and a half.
No, dude, yeah, it's far. And so I printed these business cards off that just said Austin band seeks singer. And at the time I didn't even have, it was just me. You know, the thinking is like, this is a place where I know hundreds of singers are going to be. I just printed these cards off and drove up there. And anyone in the lineup who looked cool, I would give them a card and talk to them.
It looks cool.
I mean, what else do I have to go on at that moment, right? There's hundreds of people, and I'm not going to one by one, hey, sing for me. Hey, sing for me. So if someone had a vibe, if they had like a cool look, a cool style, if there was something that kind of stood out, ultimately nothing came of it. You're casting as many lines out as you can think of, so that something will bite.
I still can't get over the band dating. That's what I'm calling it in my head.
It's not a dating thing, but it's set up that same way.
That's The Who. I like The Who.
Yeah.
Let's go listen and like The Who together.
Yeah, but it worked. Yeah, she's great. She's been like 2 weeks, I think, so super new. And we now have a second guitar player who is doing backup vocals. I think, did I send you a clip?
You did.
They're working on the harmonies.
I love live harmonies.
Love it.
It's one of those things with bands that I don't think we don't hear that often.
Not as much anymore.
The band that I thought did it the best,
all-time best?
Eagles.
Hands down.
Eagles.
Hands down. And a lot of people would say the Beatles, and I'll say, you know what, they're great. But if we're talking like all-time, because this like, everybody, especially did you seen that concert? I think it's 77 in Washington. I'll send you anyway, that's the like best version of the band where it's like Joe Walsh, Don Felder. There's like Hotel California. I think they were on that tour.
Okay.
And Randy Meisner on bass. Anyway, just like, I know I was so sad. Like when I was part of me getting into music as a kid, it was, my dad played. He was really into the Eagles and Tom Petty and Neil Young. So I'd hear him and, you know, strumming and singing these songs. So I was introduced to that, like, you know, basically from birth.
That's cool that your dad got you into that music. Did you just play it and around you and you just naturally gravitated?
Yeah, he would just be playing it and so I really love all of that. I mean, the 70s classic rock, that's like that's your era. That's my jam.
Like if you could go back in time, like time machine.
Oh yeah.
You're going back like what, 72, 73?
Yeah, maybe even 71, just to be there right before
everything.
Yeah. The first thing that really was like, which we've talked about this at a previous time, was the first time I heard Led Zeppelin, the Immigrant Song. It was that. There was just like this intensity.
That's what did it for me too. I had listened to Led Zeppelin before, but it was always like Stairway to Heaven, Communication Breakdown.
Yeah.
Like all these, don't get me wrong, they're great, they're iconic, but like it didn't get me. And I never heard that song until I was like in my early 20s.
Really?
Yeah. So, because everyone played me the same 3 songs.
Yeah.
And it's hard, like Stairway, Communication Breakdown, Lemon Song, Kashmir. And I was like, this isn't click. So what was it? So it spoke to you.
There's just this intense power there, and it was like electricity running through your body. And it wasn't until I saw their in 1973 Saw Remains the Same concert footage that I really had like put the pieces together of what was it in there that was really speaking to me, like that it was the electric guitar. And yeah, it wasn't until I saw him playing it in this footage that I was like, oh, that is where the sound is coming from.
Yeah.
That makes me feel this way. I don't know if you guys had this down there. There's this thing called Columbia House. It's like you would buy CD, obviously not anymore, but like you would buy a CD every month.
Penny?
And you would get one for like $15 and then you'd get one for a penny, something like that.
Yeah, we had that. It was like a BMG.
Okay, so similar thing. And so here I was like 8, 9, 10 years old, and we would get the pamphlet in the mail that would have like, the whole catalog.
Yeah.
And so like I was discovering Led Zeppelin one album at a time.
Okay.
And so, but it would take like a month for the CD to get there. So they would order me a CD. And so every day for a month, as soon as I get home from school, I'd like run down to the mailbox, not there. And then when it would finally be in, I'd sprint home as fast as I could, and I'd put it in the CD player. And so like they'd come home to me bouncing off the walls to a Whole Lot of Love.
I remember that. I went through and I went and bought a bunch of bands that I had read about in an interview that Kurt Cobain had given about all the bands that he liked. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. And it was like, he's like, talks about like Ledbetter, Meat Puppets, the Pixies, I'm like going through all of this stuff. Cause like, at some point he's like, he talks about punk rock. I'm like, okay, like I know who the Ramones are and the Sex Pistols.
Yeah.
And I know punk of that nature. I don't know like the Pixies version of it. Right. And I didn't know who the hell Ledbetter was, which is, great blues, right?
Yeah.
I would always use that as my way of, anytime somebody mentioned something, like, oh, well, cool, for like a penny, I can now expand my...
and you can keep tracing it back and tracing it back.
You're like, well, what did they get into?
Yeah. It does kind of all go back to the blues, or for the most part.
Especially a lot of those like 60s English bands.
Yeah.
Because they grew up on that whole Delta blues thing.
If you kept going and be like, okay, so then there was punk. Well, punk is maybe a less complicated rock, and then rock is a more complicated blues. When if you keep tracing it back, it seems like.
What was your first concert?
Like concert?
Yeah. Like, how about this? Your first show, and then like your first big like experience where you like, not like arena, but maybe make a big concert hall.
Sneaking into those bars, to see these great bands around the time. Like, one was called Jimmy Swift Band. They're really like funky and jammy, and you could dance to it. And then another one was called Slow Coaster, and they were great. You could like sing to it, and so getting to be underage and seeing those bands, and I'd be right at the front, glued, watching the guitar player. What's he doing? And trying to be like, what can I take from this, and go home and figure some things out.
And you were already playing at this time?
Yeah, I started when I was 12, and then I was like 17.
So 5 years of playing.
Yeah, but first big concert when I was in grade 12. So it would have been, I guess, around that age too, 17, 18. Me and 17 of my, this network keeps coming. Me and 17 of my best friends went and saw Pearl Jam together, and 3 of my friends went up and slept outside the venue.
Yeah.
So it was in the city called Halifax, about an hour and a half drive from where I grew up. Back in the day, when people would still sleep outside of a venue to get the good tickets.
Oh, yeah.
There was 3 of them. They were allowed, I guess, to buy 6 each. So they went and...
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, 18 of us.
Yeah.
All went to that concert together. And again, we grew up singing those songs. And so to like see it with those people, and it was just like... It was very much completed this like childhood thing about from the campfire with your friends, and then we're all there singing Better Man together, and tearing up, and just.
I was going to ask you,
it was beautiful.
If you had that moment where you've seen a band and they play a song that you love, and it could be either single or just a B-side.
Yeah.
And you have that moment where like you get the goosebumps when you hear it, and then you start to sing, and then you feel your voice.
Oh, yeah.
And then the eyes water, and you're trying not to be that emotional, but then you look around and you see
10,000, 15,000
people doing the same thing.
That's that connection. Everyone's feeling that emotion at that time.
Yeah.
it's such a human thing to want connection, right? And music is such a great medium for that. But in that moment, that night, in that song, he sang the first 2 words, and then the whole crowd sang the rest of it. He didn't sing any of the rest of the song. Better Man, yeah, it's a pretty emotional song. It's a lot of their songs there. But so that was the first like big, because again, like in the town where I'm from, you know, there wasn't no big concert venue.
Well, we shot our first big concert as the same band.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Pearl Jam with opener, the Ramones.
Really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting combination.
It was. I was so excited because I love Pearl Jam and I love the Ramones. And I'm like, I can think of a better first arena show.
It's a win-win.
Total win-win.
What is your, and maybe this is a loaded question, what's your favorite show you've ever been to?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
That is, yeah.
I've seen, like you, I've seen a lot of bands live. There's some people who've like, I've just never seen, I want to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see Metallica.
Have you never seen them?
I see, that's the same.
I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
But it definitely seems like
I like it.
is it your wheelhouse?
No, I've never seen.
And they tour a lot, don't they?
Yeah, it's usually like something like The Time, and I couldn't do
Just to line up.
or like they're playing such a big arena, and it's you know.
Well, they got a new album, right?
Yeah, they're pretty good. It's actually really good. I actually like it a lot.
Are they touring now?
Yeah, they are. It's like I've seen Nine Inch Nails, right? And they usually play big arenas, but I saw them on their club tour that they did for the world tour.
So what, it was like a warm-up?
It was like a warm-up show with Dresden Dolls, and it was at a place called Soma in San Diego. And I think maybe 1,500 capacity. So it was cool to see them with that energy and intensity in a club that small, right? Like I saw a band, to not be named, at Coachella, and I was not into it. But I had seen them in a smaller venue.
Yeah.
And it worked. When you're talking about like my favorite show or band live, it's actually the Ramones. I've still never seen anybody who goes up on stage and has that intensity.
No matter where.
It was like...
Have you seen them multiple times?
I only saw them that one time. And not that I wouldn't want to... I should have seen them more times, you know, while everybody was alive, right?
Yeah.
But it's also one of those things, like they were so good and so great that I was like, it's like capturing lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
I saw him like, is it going to happen a second time?
So that it made it more special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're always going to be on that pedestal of like best band I've ever seen live. Ramones.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that.
No one ever suspects me. They're always like, oh, wouldn't it be like this metal band or like, you know, the Eagles or Rolling Stones? No, it's the Ramones.
Did you see the Eagles when Glenn was still alive?
No.
That will haunt me until my end of days.
That is sort of how I feel. I feel like there was opportunities that I could have seen them and I didn't. And I'm bummed about that.
The hair tickets are like more expensive than any band. So you're going to be like nosebleeds for 400 or something.
Yeah. All right. See what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I'm putting the gel in, I'm combing it, and then I'm taking my hand and I'm cupping it. And I'm just,
can hear you like squishy.
Yeah. Hear that? Like, you know, water in your shoes. That's the level of porosity or moisture, water. So I'm just going to go through and just section out through your hair.
Okay.
And I'm just going to keep doing this.
Cool.
Was that your favorite show that like your like number one show of all time? Like if you could go back and relive any live concert, what would it be?
Probably the first time I saw Aerosmith.
Really?
Which was in Toronto in my early 20s. I went by myself because no one else wanted to spring for floor tickets. I'm a huge Aerosmith fan, and if I was going to see them for the first time, I wanted
experience it.
I want to feel the sweat. I don't know what I was doing the night before, but was probably up to no good because I was pretty hungover the day of the show. And I went, and again, I was by myself. Opening band is Cheap Trick, and
also a great band.
Sorry for anyone, including you, who likes them. They don't really do much for me.
That's fine.
And I fell asleep at an arena show on the floor, like, you know, floor seats. I totally fell asleep, and I woke up to, welcome to the stage, Aerosmith. So I wake up, and then I stand up, and it's like, woo. So luckily, I caught the whole show.
I like that we also both fell asleep at class. Mine was Guar.
Really? How close were, like, I mean, because they throw stuff at the...
Yeah, I fell asleep. I'll tell you later.
Had you gone to see them, or was it...
In my high school years, I had befriended Jerry Only of the Misfits.
Yeah.
And it was a Misfits and Guar show.
Okay.
I don't even know why my parents even let me do half these things. I'm like thinking, like, now having kids, I'm like, what? My parents were really trusting me. I was like out until up in LA till like 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes. And then I have to drive back to Temecula to go to school or whatever. So I saw them in like LA. I saw them in Orange County. I saw them in San Diego. I saw them
you talking about Guar or Misfits?
Guar and Misfits show.
Oh, that tour.
Yeah. I remember it was like a Misfits Guar. I think it was like Pomona or something like that. I was like up in the balcony, leaning up against the pole.
Yeah.
And it was like the 5th night of going out till 3, going to high school.
Yeah.
And school and then driving, because I'm like 17 thinking like, man, like I'm never gonna get this opportunity again. I better go.
Yeah.
Who in the right mind at 17 is friends with anybody who is in a rock band of that caliber, and the Misfits being the iconic band that they are.
Yeah.
And now I'm passing this up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fell asleep. I fell asleep
For the whole thing.
most of Guar. Like my friend there was like, dude, are you sleeping? I'm like, yeah.
You burned the candle.
I fell asleep with music that loud.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Like, think about it. Like, I will lose my mind if I hear the water dripping.
yeah.
But for some reason, Guar,
Yeah.
I was fine.
If you burn the candle hard enough, you're just gonna
Pass out.
Yeah. But the coolest thing with
I fell asleep.
the Aerosmith that show,
Yeah.
and I saw them another time and they didn't do this. One of the encore songs was Dream On.
Mm-hmm.
And they raised this white grand piano from below the stage.
Yeah.
And Steven Tyler's playing he's playing the opening progression. While the piano is being raised up, Joe Perry walks over, jumps on top of it, played the whole song on top of the piano. It's one of the most like badass things. It's like, yes, dudes, like that is exactly the kind of shit that I want to see in an epic rock show.
It's so funny because, like, I think, like, there's, like, a level of showmanship in today's bands that's there.
Yeah.
But there's also, like, so much technology sometimes that, like, can add to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really cool to see these bands that, you know, are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for the obvious reasons, right?
Yeah.
They put on these awesome shows, and they don't really have a crazy, like, media setup.
Yeah.
Like when I saw the Eagles, it's just them, a bunch of musicians,
And a screen.
and a screen and some lights.
A jumbotron.
And you know who I actually think does the best job of that? The most stripped down but super entertaining was ZZ Top.
Yeah, I haven't seen ZZ Top.
I mean, I haven't seen them now with the new bass player. But
Yeah.
those guys were
Did you see them in LA or in
California. Yeah, I saw them a few times. There's these people in the front row, and they're taking selfies of them. Like, look, all right, we're like right here next to the stage, and Billy and Beard, the Dusty, right?
Yeah.
They like let's say you're taking a selfie. They're playing the guitars, and they're like trying to get into the photo, and the whole arena is like cheering and screaming because they're like. And I saw that, I'm like, those are guys who are still having fun.
That's the thing I've seen Steven do too, Steven Tyler. He'll take someone's phone in the front row and he'll be on stage and he'll do that selfie and then hand them their phone back.
So cool.
And it's like that person, that moment is with that person forever. And again, that's like a connection thing.
Yeah. I actually didn't even ask you, like previously when we've talked, what's the name of your...
Yeah.
And like
good place.
Zach the band. I'm imagining it's like Zach's band. No, but I imagine there's a name to it.
No, it's very much not Zach. It's not the Zack Thomas project, that's for sure. It's called Foolish Ones. I love being part of a band. I don't like it to be the person and you know,
Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band would not be the labeling you would want.
No. I love the collaboration part, and like, I don't have all the good ideas. I have a lot of great ideas, but for sure, every song that we play has gotten better because of what everybody else, you know, has added to it. Just by sheer nature of numbers and like, you know, the way
You like, I need to turn your head all the way down.
all the way down.
Yeah. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scrunch this too.
But yeah, I really love collaborating. Having 6 people, I've never done more than 4. Yeah, so this is going to be a new thing. So there's bass, drums, keys. Our keys player also plays saxophone, and he plays everything. He's one of those guys where you're just like, because I just play guitar. These cats do keys and sax and guitar, and I come home one day, he's like, oh yeah, I play mandolin now, and I was just like, dude,
Learned mandolin.
yeah, like
I think the grocery store.
yeah. So he's awesome, and everybody's like this is the best version of this band, and
All right, lean back, Troy. So now that your hair is now it's making a squishy sound. Now I'm taking a towel and I'm trying to like remove the water.
okay,
But really like, I don't know if I'm playing it too much. I'm really trying to squeeze all that water out. So instead of towel drying, which is going to create a lot of friction,
yeah,
squeezing.
okay,
And I mean, you can squeeze like right here on the top of your scalp.
yeah,
So this towel's a little dry. I'll move to this one. I mean, a little wet, so I'm going to move to this one.
okay,
I'm just trying to get all of the water squeezed out.
okay,
What you get, it will sound kind of crazy, but now like when you look at your hair, you have more of that wave going.
yeah,
And then this is a trick, hairspray. What does hairspray do? Speeds up the drying time.
damn, didn't know that either.
Yeah. People ask me, is there like a type of hairspray?
Yeah,
Aerosol. That's all you want.
aerosol.
Yeah, you don't want to spray, like no pumps. There's something in like the delivery of the aerosol, and I think it's the alcohol content.
Yeah,
That helps make it it dries faster.
that makes sense. I mean, if you take too much alcohol, it definitely dries you out.
Yeah.
So, foolish ones. So you have your new singer. New singer, we've been looking for 5 months. And, I mean, I've been looking everywhere. I mean, I'm climbing up trees. I'm like, you up here? They're not. Underneath the rocks at the beach. Are you over there? Everywhere. I've been looking everywhere. I found her through that Vampr app. Her name's Emily, and because when you're creating a band where it's not a hired gun thing, everyone's part of the band. Yeah. There's just a lot of things that really have to come together. Like, there has to be chemistry, like musical chemistry. Yeah. There has to be personality chemistry. Can you hang out, have a good time, have a laugh? Can I tell you something constructive and you don't get pissed off and fly off the handle? Like, all things go well. You're on tour and you're stuck with them in a commute and bus. And if it really goes well, that for decades, and that's what I want. So you really got to nurture the relationships, and you want to find people that you can gel with, connect with. Singer in previous time in the band, like, it was like so much drama, and friction, and some good music can come out of that. I mean, there's Guns N' Roses, but to live in that place, and when practice becomes this thing that you're like, oh, what's going to happen today?
That's never a fun place to be at. I mean, it's like having that relationship that you know is ultimately going to end.
Yeah.
And every time you're with them, you're just kind of like, who are we kidding? This is not going to work out.
And you're like hoping that something will click. That there's like something you can do or say,
but ultimately you're just really waiting for like the worst thing to happen to like leave.
Yeah.
Which is the dumbest thing ever. Or you just like walk around like, well, it's not working out. Later.
The last thing to that point was she came 11 hours late to our recording session.
Were you still recording 11 hours later?
We did. So like
It's a long session.
And so yeah, we did live off the floor. So it was an hour setup, and then we played for almost 10 hours, and we did 7 songs. And then on the 11th hour, she showed up. She had car problems, which I was aware of days before. And I'm not going to say names or anything, but he couldn't have just said like, hey, I'm not having the best car things in the
Yeah, then that mean.
Exactly. And so that would have been fine. And that's what I said. Instead of seeing the signs earlier on and being like, you know what, I don't think this will work. It was trying this and trying that and hoping this and then eventually it was just, that was the moment where it was like, if someone's not reliable, then it's already a hard enough thing doing a band, and then if someone's not going to show up.
Yeah, I mean, they're showing up for something that, like, if they're not showing up to record, they're not going to show up to a show.
Yeah.
Or a showcase. A showcase, for everyone who wants to know, is when an A&R rep likes you, and there's several, you showcase, you play these shows, mainly to nobody. It's just like you show up at a bar or club, and it's just like them, which could be, depending on how many label interests you have. So it could be like one person, 10 people, and you're playing to no audience.
As if there is an audience,
which is like the most horrible idea ever. It's like, I want to see if you can fake be in front of 1,000 people. How about you saw me last night where there were 1,000 people, and you play, and it's a really big deal. Like, because some people fuck it up.
Yeah.
The showcase.
Just the pressure,
and no audience, as you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
To feed off of.
The connection thing.
To feed off these A&R stiffs. I mean, they could be, I'm imagining they're like this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I never made it to that point, but I imagine it would be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I haven't been in that room either, and it doesn't happen as much anymore. Yeah. Like, you have to kind of already be this up and running machine and already making money on your own. Whereas back in the day, like, when people used to like pay for music, there was more money to be invested in artist development. You know, they could see potential and be like, okay, well, they're not there yet. The songwriting needs some work. The image needs some work. They need to be tighter. We'll take a chance on them and we'll give them an advance, which is a loan. So when people get a record deal, it's not a bunch of free money. It's debt. It's debt.
They're giving you like $200,000 in debt.
And there's this thing called cross-collateralization, so that if your album or whatever deal you have didn't pay that back, it carries to your next album. Our album, we're paying for it, and it's a lot cheaper. Like, you don't need $100,000 to record a pro album these days.
It's amazing how technology has like democratized recording.
Yeah.
From these, studios to home studios.
Yeah. Because you can get that quality
for most stuff.
For most, yeah.
I mean, especially now with all the digital amps.
Yeah.
Did you ever record on 1-inch analog tape?
It's weird. Where we are, it prints digital to tape, or maybe it's the other way around. But no, maybe not like directly.
I just remember in a studio we were in, my band, it was before Pro Tools was like accessible to like the smaller, big local studios, like where everybody would go. And it was a 1-inch tape. And I just remember the drums never sounded better than like a 1-inch tape. There's something somebody was saying about the tape and analog as like a natural compression.
Okay.
So what's the next step? You're recording your record right now.
Yeah. So we got most of the instrumentation done. And right now with 2 new bandmates, it's a lot of like, the other new one, his name is Brooks. So he's doing like rhythm guitar and backing vocals.
Okay.
And so like he stayed at my place last night. And then like right before I came here, him and I were working on his parts. And so it's just basically showing him what I'm playing.
Yeah.
And then finding, is there a variation of what I'm playing? Or does he play the same thing as me, or does he play around what I'm playing? So we're trying to find interesting, tasteful ways
to enhance the song without like,
so exactly, like
making a mess of it.
When you're writing a song, like I think about it, like there's this amount of busyness that is allowed at any given time. And so if my guitar riff is this busy, then the rest of the band only has that much.
Yeah.
Right? Or if the vocals are right, so like you're fitting it all in. But it's really fun, and he picks up really quick. And what's great, and this was really important, he plays a different guitar. He plays a semi-hollow.
Okay.
I play like a Les Paul, and he plays a lot of finger style, which I don't do. We come from these different schools. We're building these bridges, and that's something that makes any band, but makes this band really interesting, is if you can come from these different, whether it's a different genre, a different style, a different approach, and then you make it work. Like that's something that's, so I like that he comes from a totally different school than I do. So it's getting him up to speed, writing his parts, showing him all the sections, and getting her up to speed on, and then, so there's going to be days where it's me one-on-one with the guitar player. Yeah. There'll be days where, like that clip I showed you, we're working on the harmonies. So in that time, it was just the drummer was just keeping time with his sticks. And so there's 3 singers in the band now. And then it's kind of experimenting. It's like, okay, look, here's the main harmony or main melody. And then Sebastian, the guy who plays all the different instruments, is also a choir director. So his skill set there.
Dude, what does I not do?
I know. He's a little wizard.
He's like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, he is.
If we need some composition, let me do that.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like one of our songs, it's called Hangman. The chorus was not coming together, and I couldn't figure it out. And he was like, okay, well, why don't we try this and then that chord? So he has a good sense of intervals. So intervals, just the distance between notes. Yeah. And so he can hear where something should go, or where it could go. It's funny how this could work. So I had written like a whole song, intro, verse, chorus, da-da-da. And then the only thing out of that whole song that is still in the song is the intro. Everything else changed. But it all got better though. And that's why I like, and I was playing the chorus, what I thought was a cool chorus. And he was like, man, you can do better than that. And I was like, kiss my ass. But all right.
You right?
He was right. The first thing, didn't think about it, boom. And then it was like super cool, way better. And he was like, told you. And I was like, yeah, you did.
Is the thing that you did not like, is that still usable? I've always been curious about the riffs that don't get used.
Oh, yeah. I sort of, on my iPad, in my phone, and in my mind, I have like, I guess you would call it like, this shelf is the verses. This shelf is the bridges. This is the chord. So like, I definitely have a lot of those. But that one in particular, I don't remember it, so I guess it wasn't that great.
I think it's great that you subscribe to, well, if I can't remember it, then it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Because there's riffs to this day that I wrote when I was 15, 14.
And you remember?
I remember clear as day.
Yeah.
Because I just wrote it then.
Yeah.
Because
it was that good. They were
I still think it has potential.
Yeah. There's still some songs, for sure, that I wrote when I was like 15 that I actually want to do with this band. They're mostly acoustic songs, though, which is interesting. Like, for me, acoustic is almost like a back instrument.
I'll like at the top, and I don't want to burn you with the, if this thing gets hot. Sorry. I'm going to get your hair totally dry, though.
So we see like the full, or the full Monty, the actual light.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, you're thinking that I don't totally need a diffuser?
I think it will help.
Yeah.
At least starting that process of like keeping it looking separated, And then the more you just like. So you could try what you have at home.
Yeah.
Try it the way you normally do it.
Yeah.
And if you're not into that, and you like something like more like this, then try playing it when it's super wet.
Yeah.
And then squeeze out the product afterwards.
You might get a text from me in a couple days say, can you send instructions?
Yeah. Just to keep it super low maintenance.
Yeah.
Because if you just put a lot of that product in to be out, and then squeeze out the water.
I'll have to get an aerosol because that one is not
No. What I'm saying is use what you have.
Yeah.
Spray your hair completely, scrunch it, get the curl going, right?
Yeah.
And then squeeze out all the water, and then maybe just try putting the hairspray. Like it may be so. I may be doing overkill, too much.
Yeah. I guess it's like I'll have to experiment a little bit.
Well, like this is going to give you really cool curl. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you have a really nice big curl.
Yeah.
So you don't need a lot of enhancement and to get your hair to be curly. I'm using the products to give your hair the definition. So I'm not looking at making your hair curly. I'm looking like defining your hair.
Yeah.
And if I use this, if I dry it like this, I'm capturing your hair in its definition. Does that make a little bit more sense?
Yeah.
I could try and come up with the musical term right now.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can come up with an analogy with diffusing in the hair and guitar. They'll come to me.
You're going to wake up in the middle of the night and be like,
Oh yeah, I know. And I'll be like, this is exactly like playing guitar.
and you moved here in
2020, man.
2020.
Yeah. We did not know there was going to be a pandemic and that California was going to be shut down for like a year. I took a job, moved me out here, and that's what happened. You know, I thought more bands would come to Austin
From California?
just in general.
Yeah.
But the bands I like don't come to Austin.
To play, you mean?
Yeah. They'll come to like San Antonio.
Yeah. It's population-wise, it's about the same. It's kind of strange. And now we have the Moody Center. Maybe more of them will start.
Yeah, but like some of the bands I like don't play. I mean, they're like not that big. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the metal bands I like, like Come and Take It would probably be like the biggest or like an emos venue.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know if the audience for, let's say, like a band like Machine Head or like a Fear Factory, I don't know if their audience is really here or if it's more like a Dallas, San Antonio, Houston, because traditionally those were the markets. So
yeah.
I don't know. I like all those bands. I just don't really have the time like I used to like dry.
Yeah.
Where like 2 hours, I just don't have that. Ronnie's band was playing down in Houston. And I'm like, man, if you were playing in San Antonio, I would have made the drive. But like Houston, like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
There was a day where I was like working late at the salon. So it was like, I'm not going to be able to like drive, get stuck in traffic and rush hour. And then like, I miss you.
Yeah.
There's that whole thing. There's some people I want to see. I want to see, who is it? I want to see Depeche Mode.
Are they coming here?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's one of my drummer's favorite bands.
That's the band I cried singing along.
Yeah, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of Rival Sons?
Mm-hmm.
They're coming. They're playing Stubbs outside, and
is it Rival Sons also going to tour Smashing Pumpkins?
In May. I don't know. That would be a bit of an odd bill, but
I think they
could be.
I think there's a band that's okay. I know it's like Interpol and another band and Smashing Pumpkins. They're all playing together, but they're not playing Austin.
No. Well, Rival Sons are playing Austin in the next month.
You going?
Yeah, I think so. My drummer, he does sound there sometimes.
Oh,
so we should be able to get in.
yeah.
Is that Stubbs? Have you been to the Stubbs outside?
I've only eaten a barbecue there. I haven't gone to the shows.
So there's an indoor one, there's an outdoor one. I guess outdoors is about 2,000, and it's a really cool venue.
Who have you seen there?
Bluesy, country rock kind of gal, Samantha Fish.
Okay.
She plays a badass slide guitar. And that was the first time I saw Black Pumas. They were opening up for her. And if you've heard, they were like the biggest band from Austin.
Yeah, I actually never even heard about them until I moved here.
Yeah.
The band I liked that I knew from Austin was the Black Angels.
Yeah, they're still...
I love the Black Angels.
Yeah.
It's like totally not in my... it's like this drone-y, like guitars, you know, slower, jammy kind of stuff. But it was just like that guy's voice.
I think they're still together.
I saw that they're playing somewhere, but that guy's voice was just...
I don't know them. That one of my friends is really into them. I don't know them super well.
Yeah, there's one record I forget. It's like right around like the early 2000s, and somebody played it, and I'm like, well, what is this? And I thought it was like a band I never heard of from the 70s or something. And so it was like, oh no, it came out like a year ago or whatever. And I was like, this is new. And then after that, I was like, okay, this is cool.
That's fun when you can find a band that's new to you, that has an older sound, a bit of a catalog you can dive into.
To be honest, I haven't really given Black Pumas the time of day. So I can't say I like them or I don't like them.
Yeah.
I think I heard like a bit and it was cool, but after that I was like, I just got distracted with something else.
I think they're one of those bands that almost anybody can like. It's pretty easy listening. There's some good hooks. You can sing along to it.
That's cool.
And, you could put it on in your car, or just if you're doing some work, you could have it in the background. And it's I think almost anyone could get into it.
Yeah. So here's the new do. Yeah. Your 70s inspired, like rocky rock and roll kind of thing. So
I liked.
You were a little hesitant.
I was.
Well, here's the thing. So when it comes to like bringing your length up, and I mean this 100%, there's like a length for everyone, but it's also the shape
Yeah.
So if I just brought your length up, you'd have a triangle.
Yeah.
And you'd have like a very like early 90s Seattle grunge look.
And do you think about the shape of someone's face too? Like
Absolutely.
everything?
Yeah, absolutely. And you have like very classical like male features, right? You have a strong jaw. You have like a more angular nose, which is fine. Like these nice sharp angles, which is great.
Yeah.
Complements the curliness of your hair, right? So it's not harsh and harsh. It's harsh, and then we have softness, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of those like rock and roll frontmen, they all had this like more chiseled facial features, and their hair was really soft, right? And I think there's like this juxtaposition complementing the person. A lot of like 70s, like, so I was in like, you know, the Doors, any of those bands, right? Their hair was not long as maybe it was like in the like 60s where they got longer, right? But they all had some sort of layering. They had some sort of movement, and everything was done in two shapes. It was either cut a little square to the top to get a little bit of fullness to the top, right?
Okay.
Or it was cut really round. And so I decided to give you a little bit more of that squareness through here and a little bit of the more roundness through the bottom. So that way it, when it hangs, it doesn't hang like in this wedgy thing. And funny enough, to fast forward to a more recent rock star who channeled a lot more of that was like a Chris Cornell.
He always had great friggin'.
Yeah, Eddie Vedder too. I mean, now his hair's a lot shorter, but he had more of that. And if you think about those guys and their style, like, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if they were looking to that era as a subliminal, what's the word I'm looking for? Like inspiration.
Yeah.
Like almost everybody who's into like punk and all that, they're always, I think, channels some sort of David Bowie. Because I think David Bowie did more for like new wave and punk than a lot of people would think about.
I mean, he was the ultimate chameleon. He did everything.
Like he was like, think about when he was doing Aladdin Sane and Diamond Dogs and, you know, that whole Ziggy Stardust era where he was like, you know, makeup and total androgyny. Yeah. And then a few years later, he's, you know, Thin Like Duke and all these other bands are starting to like New York Dolls are starting to embrace the makeup and the androgynous
Motley Crue.
He had already done that. He's already moved away.
Yeah.
He's already like, I'm done. I've already done that. Have fun. I love looking at rock music as inspiration for style because
definitely
they all have a movie stars. I feel they have to live in a particular box.
Yes.
But rock stars don't. And certain like musicians and, there are certain actors who are more rock and roll.
Who just embodied the attitude.
Oh, it's Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Like that dude,
Yeah.
like just does whatever he wants. Yeah, I love it.
I mean,
Dude, he has cool style.
He always has. He just put out an album with Jeff Beck too.
Yeah. Did you listen to it?
No, I haven't yet. Have you ever?
I haven't either.
Shame on both of us. It should probably check that out.
Now I'm thinking, I'm like, all right, I need to listen to that. Yeah. Johnny Depp's actually a good guitar player. Apparently. Like everyone has said, like he's a good guitar player. Like he's not just like a random guy.
He's just a much better actor.
Did you ever hear his story about how he got into acting?
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. There's this movie called like Sunset Strip, and they talk about the history of the Sunset Strip. It's actually a really cool documentary. Everybody wants to watch it. You should watch it. I remember it was streaming like on HBO one time, and I watched it like, and my mind was blown. It's like there's like these poppy farms poinsettia farms. It was like unincorporated. Like the whole thing of how that particular strip of LA became the Wild West of LA is really interesting. And they're interviewing. He came to LA to be a rock band.
He did, yeah.
And Nicolas Cage, as you said, kept getting him.
Yeah, they were like roommates or friends, and he was like,
and in the end, the thing, and Johnny Depp like more or less says like, I just started acting because it was the only thing paying the bills,
which is ironic.
Yeah, and so I like here's this guy who moves here to be a rock star because to be an actor.
Yeah, one of the biggest actors ever, and who is now kind of a rock star.
I find actors going to music is hard, but if they start off as being a musician and they go into acting, I find that like people accept that.
Who's a good example
of what?
Like a musician that, I mean, obviously there's lots.
Let's just go for somebody who's like not like people probably don't even think of as a singer. Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, back in the
day. Like Mark of the Funky Bunch.
Yeah, you don't even think of him as that. It's because he's such a prominent actor. Yeah,
David Bowie did it too.
Yeah, even
Lady Gaga.
Lenny Kravitz was in the Hunger Games.
Yeah, he was not, but people accept the musician.
Yeah,
but like Jeff Bridges being this great actor and doing the Jeff Bridges blues thing.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis,
Bruce Willis, yeah.
like
People that won't give it the same shot.
they don't, and it sucks because like they're probably really good.
Yeah.
But you just like for some reason people are like, oh, you're a musician, maybe an actor, okay, and that you're an actor, like going to be.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know either, and I've thought about that because like in Johnny Depp's instance, like he came to be a musician and to be an actor, and now that he has that, he's like, I want to go back to doing what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And it seems like people are like, okay, like he's the anomaly.
He is amongst a lot. I mean, look at the roles he's done. He's an phenomenal across the board.
So good.
Yeah. So good.
So here's your do.
Awesome.
So just do this. Run your fingers and don't run it through your hair. Just keep scrunchy. What this does is this breaks up curl. So when you have curl and you don't, like, it's too clumpy, don't do this.
Okay.
Do it at your roots. Do it up here and see like how I can control everything.
Okay.
If I do this, I'm going to pull it out and it's going to get more straight.
Got it.
And it could get frizzy. And if you want to like break it up, you can go through and take pieces and pull it apart. Curls you can pull apart. You can like go, okay, like this is too big, so I'm going to pull it apart. So like,
So you're doing a scrunch thing.
scrunch, yeah. Like see this piece right here? It's like really, really thick.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and pull it apart. And that is going to make it looser. Running your fingers through your hair is like the worst thing to do for curls.
Yeah,
Like taking pieces out and shaking them around like this is fine. Like this piece is really thick. Well, it's a nice curl pattern, but I just want to pull it apart. And that's what you want to do for like a couple areas. Like, oh, that part needs to be done. And I'm not pulling my fingers, so it's just constantly scrunchy.
Thanks for the tips.
Yeah, no problem. And if you want more height like he does, then just diffuse it upside down and you'll end up with like a really cool, like more fullness at the top.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're really good at what you do.
You're being nice, dude.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I've had more or less the same hairdo for, 15 years or something.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Yeah. Well, I understand. I mean, I definitely am. I had short hair for the longest time, like short. Yeah, like super short. But like, you know what? 41, grow my hair out. So like the you came in with is like the length I want to go for. I actually want to.
You want to get down there.
Yeah, I want to embrace more like the culture of surf that I grew up around.
Yeah.
You know, I look at like the surfer like Rob Machado and I look at his hair and I go, I'm never having that, but like I love it. So like I want to kind of have wilder hair like that. You have no idea what Rob Machado is doing.
No, I've actually never surfed before.
Me either.
Well, oh, really?
Yeah.
Never. Was that just it's not interesting? Or?
I grew up skateboarding and
Okay.
I think everyone just assumed I had been surfing. My friends, he does a surf school.
I figured you would have tried it, given the joke.
Yeah, we're not. Boogie boarding, skinboarding, wakeboarding, snowboarding, no surfboarding.
Does it appeal to you though?
Yeah. I've actually talked to them. We're going to try and do it this summer. And I've had people tell me, they're like, oh, I'll take you surfing. And they just never.
No, I want to try it. Yeah, I've never.
Well, if you want to, I'll give you my buddy's number.
Yeah, he's out of.
Oh yeah, he's a pro surfer.
Oh
yeah, and he just wants to do something totally different. And like, you know, he's been surfing. He's completely like trained in all the EMT stuff, CPR. He surfs the big waves. Like he'll travel to Bali and like all sorts of places. And he rides like big waves. And if you really want to do it, like I'll give you his information. Like, let's just going to show me and stuff.
He's in LA or?
Yeah, he's like part of LA. So like the part of the area that he wants the surf lessons are in are more like Huntington Beach, which is the title of Surf City, USA.
Cool.
That's where like the US Open is and all that. So that's the culture of surf. And just north of there in Sunset Beach the waves are a little bit calmer and more predictable for starting out.
For newbies, yeah.
Yeah, like if you're like at a call to surf, you can still have fun there. It's just like there's certain areas where the waves break, where they get easier to get in and get up. Because you want to get up.
Yeah. And if it's not fun at all, you need to have a little fun while you're learning.
It's a guitar, man.
Yep.
If somebody's teaching you how to play all these scales and all you want to learn how to do is play, I don't know.
Yeah.
Salt and Green Day.
Yeah.
Like just show me the power chord.
Yeah, and there's a moment when you play that riff complete, and then you're like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
Instead of, just like, here's a skit. All that stuff is important, but it can come through time. But there's that moment of like the light bulb where you're like, that sound that I heard coming through the speaker is something that can come from me.
Yeah.
It's a really cool moment.
Do you think everyone should learn an instrument?
It's not for everybody. Like sports, some people just got to go and run. The idea of just like sitting down and this repetitive thing, the passion is in that, then go friggin' run. But there's lots of different, maybe it's painting. Whatever it is that you're passionate about you're going to want to do that, and you'll get into the weeds of the not fun things to get to the fun things. I wish I could paint. My grandma was a great painter. Me, I'm not so great at it, but it just seems like such a beautiful expression, and just, like there it is. That blank canvas is now this beautiful thing.
Yeah, I grew up painting, right? So like I think...
Oh, you paint?
Yeah, but I think we all at some point want to try and replicate what we like.
Yeah.
And we fight what comes natural.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like your painting that you may be like, but like for someone else, they say that that's really cool.
Yeah. And art in general, right? It's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah. Or like guitar, you try to be your favorite musician, and
it's finding your voice, right?
Yeah. It is like with any art. And I think that's like with sports.
Yeah.
It's like you want to be Kobe, but maybe you can't jump as high, or like Michael Jordan, jump the whole way of basketball.
Yeah.
But like you have like those people, like I can't do it, but like I want to do that. Like, because they're passionate about it.
And you find your own lane,
and you run.
It's like there are kids who can play way faster guitar than I probably ever will.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, is that what matters most? Maybe it does to that person.
Totally.
Might not apply to what I'm doing, and so you can hold yourself to that. But it's like, that's again about finding your voice and like, well, what do you want to say?
I mean, do you feel that like younger musicians have more or less a developed idea, or they're like right on track for the art of discovering what they really are with that?
I think it definitely takes time, because like you had said earlier, like in the beginning, you're imitating.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're learning songs, how that song is written, and you're learning to, you're copying what you like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
After you've done that for a while, then you're like, well, what's next? And then you start writing your own things. And then now it's like, if I listen to a player and I want to learn something, I almost never learn it exactly how it is. Like if it's a guitar solo, unless it's something like super iconic where you really like, say like Sweet Child of Mine solo or something like that. But for the most part, is like, what is their style, or what sort of feeling were they going for? And so rather than being like precise and, like you just try and capture that, I guess, like the essence of it. And so, but it takes time to find that within yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a lot of exploring.
I mean, not just like life in general.
Like who am I?
Yeah.
Who do I want to be?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the fun things about when you get to move around a lot is you get to try on different costumes.
Yeah.
Like no one knew you were in Toronto.
Yeah.
And moved to Vancouver or to Austin. You could be the person you wanted to, but because your childhood friends knew you.
Yeah.
You self-censored who you may really be.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
I didn't really do that. I mean, I was, I'd be wearing the cheer pants.
I've seen you with those. Yeah, I know. You do. You don't care.
I don't give a shit. And then like, I've always been that way. And sometimes it comes at a cost, like my group of friends growing up were cool. We had, and like, I was not like some bullied kid. There was a group of jocks who didn't like that the pretty girls wanted to hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I was the one that they would come at. But so maybe because I looked that way or whatever. So sometimes it can come at a price.
Yeah, I know.
But as far as I've seen, it's always been worth it.
I was going to say, was it worth it?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it feels good when you know who you are and you be that person and you own it.
Sounds like you figured that out pretty early, though.
Long time ago. And I mean, the rock and roll thing definitely helped because there is such an element of freedom, and there is like about expression and like attitude of like, I don't give a shit what you think. This is who I. So music definitely helped to like open that door within like myself. But luckily, yeah, I mean, most people have been pretty receptive to whatever that kind of weirdness is. And I mean, but not everyone is for everyone, just as a sheer numbers thing. And that's totally fine. I have no problem if I meet, and it still happens to this day, I'll meet somebody and right away I'm like, ooh, they don't like me.
And you're okay with that?
Totally.
Yeah.
I don't like everybody I meet.
And well, I'm glad we like.
Yeah, that didn't take long.
No, I mean, I think you and I are, we respect the bands and musicians that we each other like, but I mean, I would never see you in the same band.
Yeah, we come from different schools.
Totally.
But I mean, there still is a love for music, a love for playing.
Absolutely. And I just, look, at the end of the day, I just love people who are passionate about it. And like, I wanted to hear what it's like to be a little bit more of like coming up in this age of music, because it's totally different. Like when I was 20 years ago, music had not had a Spotify and Apple Music. None of this existed, and it's totally different now. Like it's true. Like you don't have to have the machine back you.
It's double-edged sword, right?
I know, and I love hearing all this stuff because I have friends who got in at that time.
Yeah.
And, for better or for worse.
I think now, like, you have to wear more hats.
Yeah.
You're booking your own shows, you're planning your own budgets, like, you're finding funding, the artist development, and like you're doing all of that.
Yeah.
And so there's no one like mentoring you, or there's no label that says, go here, do that. And then you've got to set up your own websites, and there's so many different things that you've got to do, and you're not making any money. It's going to go back into the group.
Yeah.
And all these things, if you want a photographer at your show, if you whatever, right?
Yep.
You really have to think of your band as a business. And then when you're creating a new business, you're investing time and money with the belief that it will pay off down the road. And so you really have to love it, because it's like, it can be years without a dime in your actual pocket, because you're reinvesting in building. With my group, I've been working on this band for 4.5 years. We're ready to hopefully this summer release our first song. So why 4.5 years? You got to find the right people who are in it for the right reasons. Because if you don't have that, you got nothing.
I'm going to finish my thought with a quote from Vidal Sassoon, where he said it took 9 years for him to become an overnight success.
Yeah.
And I think that's with everything in life. I was listening to this thing, music, with one of the guys from Nirvana and the other guy from Soundgarden. And they're talking about, and they're talking about all of this years and years and years and years and years and years and years. But to everybody else, it was like they got together one day, they recorded a record the next day, and they sold 30 million records.
There you are on the cover of Rolling Stone.
Yeah. And it doesn't work like that.
I mean, if you're enjoying the process,
It's always fun.
like when I go to rehearsal twice a week, it's the highlight of my week. I leave there and I feel lighter. I feel elated. It's its own little buzz, even just getting together and to play.
So if somebody like watches this and they're like 17, or 16, they're like a teenager.
Yeah.
What would be the one thing of advice if somebody was like, hey, I'm playing an instrument, any instrument, but I want to do this? What would be the one thing you would say to that?
Patience.
It's a good one.
Because I am an extremely impatient person, but I mean, to learn your instrument, patience. Finding bandmates, patience. Dealing with the human element when things aren't great is like taking the patience within yourself to listen to how that person's feeling. A lot of a band is managing relationships and emotions.
Patience.
Patience.
Not a bad thing to think about just in life in general, right?
Yeah.
So cool. Well, dude, when you get your shows going on, I'm going to go and
Absolutely.
Enjoy your 70s haircut.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to trim this off.